said beans on toast is actually okay. You,
Oh, I have a text of him saying that too. He sent me a text, and I was like, anytime you talk trash on Twitter, I'm gonna post it. Like, so I've been waiting for it, and the fact that he wanted to say that now, I think he's trying to soften the blow. But no, don't worry. There's gonna be a time when he tries talking smack. I'm gonna bring that up and just expose him.
Man, I know obviously you're locked in competing at right tackle. I know that's something you've been familiar with throughout your career. But what's kind of your mindset going into this year? I know last year, you kind of talked about going back and forth between positions, but you make a name for yourself at right tackle. How's that kind of come to fruition for you?
Yeah, it's been dope. This is the first training camp in my career I've been able to come in as a starter. But then, that adds more pressure. You gotta be in this camp. It's more about solidifying my spot than it is earning it. But then also, we have talented guys in the room: Thayer, Brandon, even Justin. A lot of them can play right tackle also. So it's more about improving every day myself and solidifying my spot. But then also finding ways to get better. And I go against Max every single day, and Kuntz is developing. He's getting better and better, and I'm excited to go against Tyree whenever that is. And so that's what it's really about this year. More so, not really, hanging on to last year, because that was last year, that was 2022. This year's a brand new year. It's a new challenge, and, with that challenge comes a lot of people I'm going to face. But first of all, it starts with camping, just solidify my spot.
With that being said, what's it like having continuity with the guys that you were playing alongside last year, coming back, pretty much that full group back?
Yeah, it's dope. Playing next to Bars, there's a certain way I like to play. And having him next to me, he knows how I like to play, whether it's setting a 5 technique or how I am on a deuce block or how I'm on like a backside cutoff. There's certain ways I like to do things, and having him knowing what I like to do makes it way easier. So it's less communication because you trust the guy next to you.
You talked about the different mindset entering camp, as somebody who's returning from last year in that position. Was the offseason different? Did you have a different mentality in the offseason, being that this is kind of a different year for you?
I think this offseason was more so healing, because last year was my first year starting with 17 games, and I got pretty banged up, and I've been banged up my entire career, so it's more so just recovering, and then also trying to maintain my fitness and keeping my weight up, which I did, and trying to maintain my strength.
Talk about what you did this offseason. Also, you got married, you did a football camp in London, things like that. And what were some things that you feel like attributed to the mental health and healing this offseason?
Definitely going back to England. That's something I've been trying to plan for, let's say, 6 years now. And going back there and being able to host a camp on the same field I actually started playing football on was an amazing experience. But then also the fact that, let's say, about 90% of those kids had never played football before, and being able to introduce them to the sport and put a smile on their face and just let them be out there and being kids, it was amazing. And also going back home, seeing my friends and my family, I got to see some guys I went to school with 14 years ago, and that definitely it hit different, because it showed me how far I've come and how far I've left to go, and it just made me want to be successful in this sport even more, so I can bring it back over there on a bigger platform. And I had about 55 kids in my camp this year. Hopefully next year I plan to have around, let's say, 150 to 200, and then do it in multiple locations in England. So growing that's a huge thing for me mentally, because that's one thing I'm really passionate about. And I feel like in this game, you can get stressed about the little things, and if you don't find something to somewhat help relieve your stress, then it will just consume you. And going back to England was one of the things that helped just, mellow me out and really put my mind where it needed to be and give me the motivation I needed going into the season.
How long has it been since you've been back?
So I went back my rookie year when I was in Baltimore, but I didn't really get to, go around London and go back home and just go and see some of my friends, because, we were real busy with the season. And when I went there, it was just a media bombardment where I just had to do multiple things over there, because it was my first time going back in a while. So really, this was my first time going back in, let's say, 14 years, like truly going back and being able to just do what I want to do. So it's been a while.
And what were those emotions like? I know you posted like the flats that you grew up in, right? And to see where you are now, where the city you're in now, like what were those emotions like?
It was real surreal. When for me, leaving England, I had a mission and a goal, and I was real determined to achieve that. And I'm still on the road to achieving what I truly want to, what I want to happen. And just going back and seeing where I used to live and where I used to play, and the streets I used to walk, like I said, it was real surreal. It definitely hit different, because when you're that young, you don't really expect that the goals you have that young to come true when you're older. And, although I wanted to play in the NFL, I definitely had no idea how I was going to make it happen. And as a kid, everyone has dreams. I'm sure some kids want to be astronauts, some kids want to be firefighters, some kids want to be pro English football players or soccer players, as they say in America. I'm saying English football players now because I went back there and I have to say it. Everyone has dreams and aspirations at that age, but you don't really know how to achieve them. And, along the way, you have to have help. And I had so much help growing up to get to where I'm at now. And it made me think about all of that, all the help I've had along the way, all the people that really, truly believed in me, and all the people that have sacrificed a lot of things to help me get here. And that's kind of what this season's for, all those people who were truly believing in me and helped me get here. I want to just go out there and just dominate this year for them and truly show my appreciation for them helping me get here.
Jermain, you talked about the challenges of sometimes sweating the small stuff, and today's with social media, everyone's a film expert. There's Pro Football Focus. There's all grading systems and everything like that. So it feels like it's always out there and it's always prevalent. Do you feel like you're doing better in that regard of dealing with that, or do you just not care anymore about it?
I think I'm doing better. The first couple of seasons in the NFL, I kind of let that affect me, especially in New England during the COVID year when I had to move to left tackle. I was dealing with some things mentally and physically, so I wasn't in the right place. And, in that state of mind, it only takes one thing to really, knock you off your seat and really affect you. And, that was a really bad year for me mentally. And so I've learned from that. And then I also have people here, Daryl. He is one of the he's on staff here. He was with me in New England, and he helped me get through a lot of things there mentally, and I mean a lot of things. And to have a guy like that here that's huge for me and huge for a lot of guys because this sport can take a toll on you on the field and off the field. And I tell a lot of the young guys, you got to have some sort of release when you get home. You can't truly, everyone says you got to focus on football 100%. You got to give everything you have to this sport. If you do that, it's going to consume you. And I tell the young guys, because I went through it, I let this sport consume me. I let social media just destroy me from the inside out and mentally put me in the worst state I've ever been in. And so I tell them, don't look at social media. People are going to say what they're going to say. It doesn't really matter. If you flip scripts, they definitely couldn't do what you're doing. And, you just go out there and just play ball and have fun. Because if you're doing that, you're going to be the best you. And if you're the best you, you're going to do your thing on the field. And then all those people talking negative about you are going to be, just saying a bunch of positive things about you. By that point, who really cares? It's just words on your phone. And it took a while for me to get to that state of mind and that mentality. But I truly feel like this year I really have a grip on that.
That said, was there some vindication last year, at the end of last year, when you looked there and your name was pretty prominent on Pro Football Focus? The Raiders' offensive line, I think, finished number 10 by Pro Football Focus. So do you feel, was there some vindication for you guys?
Yes, but no. We definitely, it was cool having Josh and him be a leading rusher in the NFL, but it also puts a target on your back because now if we don't play up to that standard, and not even playing up to that standard, we want to play higher than that standard. We want to be one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. We're returning to 5 starters, and we want to take that next step and truly be one of the lines that everyone talks about. And I feel like some people will really just let all the things on social media get to their head, and that's just a recipe for disaster. If you go out there and you're like, oh, Pro Football Focus is saying we're this or we're that, me and Colton are this and Dre's that. If you really look into that and let that, blow your head up, you'll go out there and you get smacked in the mouth week 1, and all those ratings and everything will just go away.
Jermaine, Carmen is a guy that you guys, you respect him and you like him. I'm just curious. He can be a coach to chew you out and then turn around laughing with you and joking with you. What is it about his dynamic with you in particular and in the offensive line, please?
I think that, the position we play, it's a lot of moving parts. One time you're blocking a 5, then you're blocking a 4 ride, then you have to go out and block the safety if he's blitzing on the edge. Like, there's so much that you have to do in this position that sometimes in the heat of the battle you can just, overreact to some things. If he's shouting at you, you say something back, and then, just having that relationship with him where it's like we get off on the sideline, we're like, yeah, we're good. We're just let bygones be bygones, just move on. It's kind of like having a next play mentality. When, things are said, you just let them go because at the end of the day, you don't truly mean them. We have a relationship off the field. I've known Carm for 5 years now, and he was one of the first people I told that I'm having a kid. And, just that relationship I've built with Carm over the years, because I was with him in New England when I was going through all the, like I said, the mental stuff of this game. And, he's been with me through everything. And, at times on the field, it can look like we're just fighting and arguing. But at the same time, we both want the same. Like we have both have the same goal in mind. We both have a high standard, a really high standard for the way we want to play the game here, and we both know what we want. So, just heads are going to clash in this game. But at the end of the day, we know what it is.
As much continuity as there is up front with you guys, there's a lot less behind you, especially without Josh here in training camp. You guys paved the way for so many yards last year. What's it like blocking for Zamir? What have you seen out of him?
Yeah, I talk to him all the time. He is a hell of a back. I don't think anyone's like Josh in the league. I think Josh is one of a kind, and I can't wait to get him back. But Zeus is definitely a guy, we're lucky to have him because, like, him and Josh are two different guys. Josh can run you over or juke you out. Zamir's just going to run head first and run you over. He doesn't care. And it's cool playing for guys like that because, if you open up a hole and he gets to the safety, 9 times out of 10, he's going to run him over and score. So, like I said, there's no one like him, but we're lucky to have a guy like Zeus and even the other backs too, like Brandon, Amir, Britt. A lot of them bring something else to the game. And, like we always say, like Josh always says, it's next man up mentality. You can't let one guy not being here affect the way you play out there. And, we got to keep going. And, like I said, I hope we get him back, and I can't wait to get him back because it will just add on to this offense that we have here.
Going through what you went through in New England and getting past it, and a lot of people were helping you out. Do you remember a time when you kind of turned the corner, or you felt better, or is it just having success on the field that does that?
If I'm being honest, probably the Jets game, the last game of the season. I went through a lot that year. Like I said, a lot. And the Jets game, like I said, when I was able to talk to Darryl that year, before that game, and he really, pulled me from, off the cliff and, like, mentally just helped me reset. And the Jets game that year was truly the first game where I felt myself. It was a long year. The COVID year kind of sucked, and there's no fans, and you're dealing with a lot of different things. I was dealing with injuries, not being able to play the position I wanted to play, having to switch over to left tackle. But the Jets game that year was truly the first game I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulder, and I had a lot of people to thank for that.
I know you've from time to time pushed back on social media or bitten back a little bit here and there. What kind of discipline does it take not to just, really?
Yeah, it takes a lot, definitely, because I don't like some fans out there. I can't name the teams, but I just don't like their fans. And so, some of them just try to bait me. And, I'll be writing something on Twitter, and then I'm like, I probably shouldn't say that because I know I'm going to hear about it next day, because we have spies on Twitter. I'm not going to say where. There's a lot of spies on Twitter. So, I have to really hold my tongue, and, I have a lot of drafts. Let's say that. I made a couple of bookmarks last year too. There was what was it? It was 2021 when the Chargers. I think we lost that first game, and they sent out that stupid tweet about like the crying emoji. I don't know what it was. And then when we beat them, I said something back, and it blew up. I kind of don't. Sometimes I forget how much power players have on social media with the fans. And if you say one little thing, it can turn into something huge. And, sometimes I forget that, but most times I remember that because I like to really stir the pot. But I kind of, like I said, I've cooled down a little bit, especially since I'm about to have a kid, so I got to set a good example. But, they're not going to have Twitter for a while, so I still have a little bit of time left to have fun.
Thank you.